So welcome everyone. I hope you hear us well. My name is Ingvi Ingvarsson. This Occurrence Reporting for EASA Organization webinar is set up for you to better understand. It's going to provide you with information on occurrence reporting and the requirements for EASA organizations. And I welcome you all and hand over to Jonas Florian, who will take on from here.
Thank you, Ingvi. Welcome everyone to today's webinar on occurrence reporting for EASA organization. So my name is Jonas Florian. I'm safety data manager within the EASA safety data management team. I'm here with Gerd Ricke, who is safety data manager responsible for enabling tasks and E2 reporting and PCR activities. Nicola Balzano, who is senior safety data manager responsible for data management, and Ekaterina, who is also a safety data manager in our team. So we'll have this webinar will last for 90 minutes. We will cover occurrence reporting activities that we are performing here at EASA. The webinar is designed specifically for EASA-approved organization, but everyone is invited to participate and get to know better how we at EASA are carried out occurrence activities task. So I will start with the agenda for today. So the first point of the agenda is to explain what we do with what's the purpose of the EASA safety data management webinars, how many they will be. We'll introduce the EASA safety data management team, and we'll provide also an introduction to the occurrence reporting. And we continue with the key statistics that we reviewed we captured from the EASA occurrence reporting data. We will continue with the ECCAIRS overview of the ECCAIRS 2, and also provide some information about how the onboarding is carried out for EASA organization. We'll provide information and explain how we are managing the occurrence reporting process. We'll provide an end-to-end overview of our safety data management process. We'll explain some of the data quality challenges that we have identified in our occurrence reporting that we receive from EASA-approved organization. And we'll end with an overview of the common European risk classification scheme.
Maybe just one logistical matter before we continue, and that's regarding comments and questions. Please use the Slido tool that should be in the right bottom corner for you. So open that, and you should be able to send in questions.
Mm-hmm. We are recording the webinar, and will
yes,
be
it's recorded. The webinar is recorded, and we'll post that online next week.
Thank you. So the webinar, the purpose of the webinar is to try to make the occurrence reporting more effective, try to provide a better understanding of the regulatory framework that surrounds the occurrence reporting requirements in a view to provide our organization a way to be more compliant or achieve compliance with these requirements. Try to support with information about better data quality and how to improve data quality to support safety analysis work. Also information about how to improve safety culture, and also try to provide information to help you and help the aviation worldwide do better work or improve risk management activities. We'll be organizing domain-specific webinars in this sense to try to better understand these challenges at domain level. So we'll continue with domain-specific webinars for design, organization, production, maintenance, CAMO, air operators, air navigation services, and ATOs, aviation training organization. Again, the audience will be the EASA-approved organization. And in terms of scheduling, we are thinking to organize the first webinar somewhere in the first week of February 2025, but the exact date of the webinar will be confirmed. The format of the future webinar or of the domain-specific webinars will be around 60 minutes. 45 minutes will be the content and 50 minutes for questions and answers from your side. And to do this, we'll reach out to you with an occurrence reporting survey, which will be coordinated with the EASA team leaders that are responsible for the respective domains. So what you can do, how can you support us with the, you can change the slide. So how can you support us and help us make the delivery of the webinar more effective and more engaging and more useful for you is to complete the occurrence reporting survey that we sent to you. And let us know what are your occurrence reporting challenges, and we'll make sure to address these reporting challenges in our domain-specific webinars. Again, feel free to engage during the discussions today and drop us a comment and let us know what concerns you. Feel free to discuss any specific issues. If it is not possible for us to answer in these webinars what you raise, we'll reach out to you once we have the domain-specific webinars. So I will continue with introducing the EASA Safety Data Management team. So where we are in terms of the EASA organizational structure. We are placed in the Strategic and Safety Management Directorate under the Safety Intelligence and Performance Department. We are, in terms of the task that we are carrying out, so what we do is managing the safety data collection and processing. So we are the EASA as a competent authority. We try to support the various internal stakeholders to deliver our responsibilities and to carry out our task to make sure that our responsibilities as a competent authority are carried out effectively. So we are responsible for managing the safety data collection and processing. We are responsible for sharing distribution of reports that we receive for EASA-approved organization to the responsible decision maker within the technical directorates of EASA. We are doing monitoring and analysis of occurrence report or information containing the occurrence report to identify trends, performing risk analysis, also to support strategic decision making, and also to support our core activities in terms of continuing airworthiness and oversight. We're also carrying out tasks in terms of enabling activities like providing support to member states in terms of the ECCAIRS 2 portal, helping state with the migration of data into the European Central Repository. We are also building or supporting the ECCAIRS 2 platform. We are supporting and developing the ADREP taxonomy, and last, we also have handling suspected unapproved parts and making sure that the reports on these aspects are effectively coordinated at the agency level. In terms of key facts and figures, if we we are providing data intelligence to support the continuing airworthiness of more than 1,100 EASA products, the aircraft engine and propellers, and also to support oversight activity for more than 2,000 EASA-approved organizations. At the moment, our database holds more than 160,000 reports. In the last 10 years, we received on average around 8,600 reports, and on a monthly basis that makes up to more than 700 reports. You can see there are some notes on the right hand side bottom. So the last two numbers are related to the 10 years average. So feel free to reach out in case there's something is unclear with these numbers. I would like to continue with the providing some information about occurrence reporting. So we explaining what is the purpose of occurrence reporting. As you all know, what we want to achieve collectively is to prevent accidents by making sure that effective safety risk management activities are well in place. So how occurrence reporting fits into this landscape? So we use occurrence report, we code that information and store it in a way that information is properly classified to support safety analysis, and we perform risk classification and risk assessment to prioritize and to first establish the risk levels and prioritize safety actions to mitigate those risks. So how can we make the occurrence reporting effective? We need the regulation to understand who should report, what to report. We need also tools to facilitate a standardized classification of information contained in our occurrence report, and also how to store that information. So we have the ECCAIRS other taxonomy to facilitate that. We have the ECCAIRS portal to manage and collect information about occurrence reports. We have methodologies in place such as the Common European Risk Classification Scheme that facilitates a standardized approach for identifying risk and key risk areas. And we have processes in place to facilitate data quality, to support safety analysis, and perform and processes to perform risk assessments. Yes. So here we have a visual explaining the EASA occurrence reporting regulatory framework. As you can see, there's a lot of rules that have to be are in place to support the reporting requirements in various domains. We have the EASA basic regulation that sets the stage for the occurrence reporting for EASA-approved organization. Also have the occurrence reporting regulation 376 on the collection on the reporting collection analysis and follow-up of occurrence reports that comes together with a list of reportable occurrences, and we are going to elaborate on that later on during this webinar. And also we have the Commission delegated regulation and the Commission implementing regulation that set the stage for the implementation of the European Risk Classification Scheme, which is mandatory for EASA and European national aviation authorities. In terms of the accident and incident investigation, we are bound by the Regulation 996 and also the ICAO and the standard and the international practices set out in the ICAO Annex 13. We also have specific requirements coming out from the regulation, implementing regulation to to Regulation 2018. We have the Part 21 of the Design and Production Organization. We have Regulation 3021, setting out requirements for maintenance and continuing airworthiness management organization. Regulation 373 for ANSPs. And we have Regulation 965 for air operators and pilot training organization requirements that are set out in Regulation 1178. As most of you know, we have AMC 20-8, so acceptable means of compliance, which also facilitates reporting for the EASA-approved organizations. If yes, so having all this information about the various reporting requirements that are set out in the different European regulation and EASA reporting regulatory framework, the reporting process and timeline for mandatory and voluntary occurrences, as is it laid down in Regulation 376, is explained in this slide. So individuals have to report to their organization, to the EASA organization, in 72 hours since they became aware of the occurrence. Then the organization has now 72 hours to report to EASA. We process that report and store it in our safety data management database in 1 month. Then the organization, where there is a case for follow-up reporting, they submit the preliminary analysis in 1 month, and the final follow-up report in 3 months. And what EASA does after receiving the follow-up report, will update the record in the STM database, and subsequently this update is going to be reflected in the European Central Repository. So to summarize, we have in terms of individual tasks, individuals have to report the organization in terms of 72 hours since they became aware of the occurrence. Organization report to EASA within 72 hours of receiving the report. They have to submit a preliminary analysis if they identify a safety risk. This has to be in 1 month. They need to conduct a follow-up analysis and submit a final report in 3 months. What we do, we store the report in STM database. We update once we update the ECR with anytime newly information is made available to us by the EASA-approved organizations, and we review that any corrective action that are shared with us by the EASA-approved organization in the reporting, to make sure that the corrective action are adequate. And if they're not, we request additional information and to make sure that the safety risks are properly mitigated across the EASA-approved organizations. So this is in short, the reporting process and timeline that are coming from the EASA regulatory requirements. In terms of what has to be reported,
I think you had another thing, because you can also submit report close on issue. So of course, for those ones you don't need to submit an update. So it will the timeline is slightly different. So we won't expect an update for the ones that you send us close on issue.
Thank you, Nicole.
I think, but you had it on the slide. So. And also for design and production organization is when you are aware that is classified as an unsafe condition is also there. So like it's not, the time starts when you are identified the issue as an unsafe condition. So for design and production, the T0 time, it's a bit different. Is when you become aware of the unsafe condition. Thank you.
So in terms of thank you, Nicola. So in terms of what has to be reported by EASA-approved organization, we have the Commission Implementing Regulation 1018 issued in 2015, which is lay down the list of reportable occurrences. We have 5 annexes that list the occurrences that are have to be reported by different type of stakeholders. We have Annex 1 explaining the list of reportable occurrences related to the operation of the aircraft. Annex 2 on the technical maintenance, on technical condition and maintenance and repair of the aircraft. Annex 3 on air navigation services and facilities. Annex 4 for occurrences related to aerodromes and ground handling, and Annex 5 occurrences related to aircraft other than complex, including sailplanes and lighter than air vehicles. We also have reporting list of reportable occurrences that are coming from AMC 20-8, and this makes, let's say, comprehensive a list of reportable occurrences that EASA-approved organization follow on. Also, we have to make sure that information that is contained in occurrence report is properly classified and properly has the quality that is needed to support the various safety analysis needs. We have requirements that explain the information that has to be contained in each report, and we have this here a list of mandatory data fields that are coming from you have on the in a square in the image in the blue square. You have the common mandatory data fields coming from the Annex 1 of the Regulation 376. Here we expect information related to the what happened headline, UTC date, location, what is the occurrence class, narrative, and which explain what is the occurrence about, and any safety risk that has to be highlighted. We expect information about the event types and risk classification. So all this information that you see is required to be included in each report that it's sent to us. We have also requirements for aircraft-related data fields that are coming from also Annex 1 of Regulation 376. Requirements from occurrences reported by air navigation services, or occurrences that are relevant in the context of air navigation services. We have information that are required in order to support activities related to the safety analysis of aerodrome-related events. We need the aerodrome location indicator, location on aerodrome, and we need also information about damage and injury-related data fields. So all of these are coming from our requirements that are coming from the Regulation 376.
I just want to complement, because this is there are a lot of mandatory data fields, but it's like we understand that in the first 72 hours it's not always possible to provide all these data. So it's like if this data is not available to you, you just let us know that for the moment is unknown to you and you don't have this data. But I mean, you have a month to collect the additional data for the initial for the first follow-up, and then so anytime that you get a substantial data update, because it's like we don't wish to have a report update without really substantial data. And but so it's not that you have to provide this information immediately, but I mean, we need the most important information, that also, so the date of the we will go later on the data quality part, but I mean, is like the important part are there are a few important data fields that let us also check if we receive this report from other organization or not. And I seen that we got several questions about drone report from drone organization. It's like this webinar is for EASA-approved organization. So it's like so for drones, drone reports are usually addressed to the national authority. Thank you.
Okay.
It'd be good to mention also, as a former analyst, with the narrative text, we've often seen very sparse information in the narrative text. So it's so important that we get what happened, how did it happen, and why did it happen. And that's absolutely crucial for a good occurrence report to be developed.
Yeah, and instead of writing everything down in the narrative, then please fill the appropriate attributes out on the forms. So it's much easier for us to process them without having to read through the 7 books of wisdom on the narrative.
Thank you. Ekaterina is going to touch on this data quality aspect later in the webinar today. I will continue with the next agenda item, which is provide a few slides on some key statistics from our occurrence reporting. This is a review of occurrences that we receive in the last 10 years, covering the period of 2014-2023. There has been, as you can see, there has been a steady increase in the numbers of reports. We can see in 2023, almost 11,000 reports compared with 4,500 in 2014. So we almost doubled the numbers of reports. And we can see also in terms of also an increase in the number of occurrences. So this is the reporting volume, which is good. They explained how that's a good safety culture and the reporting culture across the EASA-approved organization, which is supporting us to better identify trends and risks from data and better support improvements to aviation safety. In terms of breakdown of occurrences by occurrence class, the highest percentage of occurrences were classified as incidents. We have 35%, followed up by occurrences with no flight intended, 26%. We have many design and production organizations who are reporting to us. And also the third in terms of percentages is of accidents, accounting for 22% of the occurrences reported in the last 10 years. I would like to continue by sharing what are the key risk areas for these occurrences. This is relevant for occurrences reported in 2023. We use the European risk classification methodology to identify the key risk area. This is something that I'm going to further explain in this webinar, and hopefully it will be useful to understand how we at EASA use ERCs to identify risk and prioritize safety actions based on that. Aircraft upset is the highest, is the top key risk area, accounting for 50% of occurrences. We have airborne collision,
Okay, my name is ECCAIRS. I am the local project manager for all ECCAIRS 2 related matters. First, I would like to go over some history. So the ECCAIRS 1 system was a decentralized system. That means that every member state had an installation of ECCAIRS 1 on their servers, and it was operational for up to more than 30 decades. ECCAIRS 1 was discontinued in 2020, and the European Commission has requested EASA to take over. As of 2018, the new development of ECCAIRS 2 was started, and it became operational in the early months of 2020. After the minimum viable product, a new set of features have since been made available to the industry and to other organizations. Now, this has been crystallized in the aviation portal. The aviation portal is an online platform managed currently by EASA. It is the one-stop shop for all aviation reporting matters, whether you look at it from a reporter or from an authority point of view. This is the starting point for all. It is widely used by aviation safety authorities and their reporting organizations such as you. And within a few slides, I will show you how you can become one of the registered organizations in ECCAIRS 2. But before that, I would like to point out a few things that are of interest for you as reporting organizations. It's a full integration of the industry reporting portal. That means that you have this one-stop shop from which you can start creating your reports, send your follow-up reports, ask questions, get registered, and so forth. ECCAIRS 2 platform allows you to use different means of reporting. Either you are using the online format within ECCAIRS 2, the offline format using PDF forms, the old E5X files can still be uploaded, and for the SMS providers, it is a possibility to send reports using the application program interface, otherwise known as the API. When you log in as a user of a registered organization, by default, we know what type of organizations you are. Are you a design organization, a production organization, a CAMO, and so forth? So based on that, we already know which type of forms we will make available for you so that you do not need to choose them. If there is no choice, you cannot choose wrongly. By being a registered organization, you get access to all your previously submitted reports. That is, if you need to send a follow-up report, you select an already submitted report and you submit it again with the necessary modifications. Certain info can be fed back to the reporters. And that is, if you are having questions or you are providing wrong information, we from the EASA, we can directly contact you and ask you to provide more information. There is a role-based, it's a role-based application. That is, depending on the roles that you have been given within your organization in E2 or within the authority in E2, you can see more or less or perform more or less tasks. Very important is the pre-filled attributes, avoiding to perform repetitive work. Like Unit showed you earlier, we have a shed load of attributes that need to be filled out for completion. And like you pointed out, in most cases, when an occurrence happens, you do not know or you do not have all the information available to you yet. The pre-filled attributes kind of cater for that. When you open your form for the first time, then all these predefined values will be filled out, which are appropriate to your type of organization and to your proper organization. Existing SMS providers can link to E2 via a machine-to-machine interface and perform all tasks like you would do online. Now, how does this happen? So there's a kind of a workflow. So there's an incident, a runway excursion, you find a wrong engine or whatever, it's an incident. You go to the aviation portal, then you log in to the aviation portal, you come directly to your homepage, and in the homepage, you can either provide more information on an existing one or create a new report, which you then can submit to EASA, where it will then be processed accordingly. Okay, now how you can go about becoming a registered organization. For your information, up to now, I think we have approximately 750 organizations that have already applied to become a registered organization. So how did they do that? Like I said, from the aviation portal, you see the link up on the left. You click on contact form. Via the contact form, you apply for access to ECCAIRS 2. And the only thing that you need to provide, in addition to your name and your email address, is your approval number. Because your approval number will automatically be stored in ECCAIRS 2 so that it can be forwarded to the people that are processing the report to identify who you are. So, based on the information that you've provided, we in EASA, we will set up your account. We will assign your EASA approval number as your first login name. So for instance, EASA.145.1234. Send an account activation email to the email provided in the contact form so that you can activate your account. That needs to be done within the 72 hours after having received the email. And we will send you a comprehensive onboarding documentation that contains how you can work within ECCAIRS 2, how you can add extra users, how you can provide the report, which are the different means, what are the different default values we have on file for you, which you can ask us to modify, and so forth. So, once you receive your email for the activation, you click on the link. There you set your email, there you set your password. Once you have done it, you can log into ECCAIRS 2, and that's it. You will come to your homepage. Katarina will later show you how the show page looks like when she goes into a real life example. Okay. Now, what is very important to you is when you receive your onboard documentation is to read it. I know you should call it ignore me instead of read me, because read me nobody reads. So, but in the onboarding documentation, you can find your first login, how to activate your account, how to add extra users, how you can report, how you can do the reporting, and very important, what we have on file for you. And that contains all the predefined fields that will be automatically filled out when you do the online reporting. Okay, that's it on my part.
Okay. Here in this slide, we have an overview of our safety data management process, explaining what we do from the time we receive a report from you until we make sure that all safety risks are properly addressed. So the first step, once we receive the report, is to make sure that the information is properly coded, all the relevant fields are filled in. Then the information it's validated. We perform a second quality check, and in this part we are reviewing and making sure, identifying if any safety risks are highlighted, and if this safety risk require further investigation, we decide and allocate that occurrence to the responsible teams within the EASA. This can be a product certification manager for the product, or it may be the team leader for the organization. So what they do, they will work and review the corrective action proposed by the organization to mitigate the safety risk shared in that report. They will, if needed, they will require technical advice from EASA experts. So, for example, if the problem with the structure of an aircraft, they might involve the structure experts to properly address safety risk in this sense. And once the corrective actions are agreed, they monitor the implementation with the reporting organization and close the investigation. It might be in certain situation that other additional actions are required from our side. It might be a Airworthiness directive, safety information bulletin, and other safety directives to make sure that all risks highlighted in occurrence report are properly addressed. Once the investigation is closed and actions, corrective action are properly included, we reflect all that information in the occurrence report and update all the relevant fields. We have the event types, we have in the occurrence class, if that is the case, or the occurrence category. And once we have all that information captured and stored in our database, we share that information with the European Central Repository. And this is a closed loop, ensuring that all the information that is coming from the EASA-approved organization and safety risks highlighted in this occurrence report are adequately mitigated. It's a systematic approach, ensure that everything is properly addressed. I think that's it for me on the
I wanted to say a bit more, because it's on the first box that it says on reports. So in the part on coding and validation, here we are checking the data we receive from you. So sometimes we miss essential data to go on in our processing. And Ekaterina will cover on the data quality just in a minute. But I mean, here you need to think that when you submit a report, as Invi was saying, that you provide the basic information that is necessary for us to process. Because if we don't get this information, the process gets interrupted and we need to get back to you. And you may have probably received some requests from our team. And we need this the basic information to go on and processing. So we are not talking on all this filling the mandatory field in the right attribute, but to provide necessary information in any field that let us go on with the allocate right expert, because you also have to think we are on the coding part, we are a team of 5. Okay, we have a broader technical knowledge of all the aircraft system, but I mean, we don't know all the components that belong to which aircraft type. So if you miss the aircraft type, we need to get back to you. If you don't provide the part number, we'll go on with Ekaterina on this. But I mean, if you start to think about that you are sending this report to a team, to other people, and you also have to provide the necessary information. So it is important to provide all the information to allow us to continue the process and not interrupt, because we are a team of 5, and following up and sending email is eating a lot of our time. And then we need to follow up on all those questions that we ask to our reporting organization. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna share.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. There you go. maybe use the time to highlight that we see a lot of comments coming in. And
Thank you. Thank you.
That's,
you know, a lot of working through them. But yeah, do it through Slido, not the comments in WebEx. So yeah, we'll be happy to.
And also there is a
those.
lot of requests to get this presentation, and everyone is asking if it will be recorded. Yes, we mentioned in the beginning, it is recorded. The presentation will be provided. You will get all this information. You will be able to use it to teach your colleagues, your organization as well. So don't worry about that. You will get this information. It's not a secret.
yeah, we will. There are a couple of typo in the presentation. We'll correct first, and then we'll provide that to you. We see already there were some comments, but we'll correct those and then provide the presentation to you.
Okay, so data quality challenges. I'm going to talk about the data quality issues that we usually see when receiving reports. But firstly, I would like to make it clear that I'm not here to tell you off and tell you that the quality of your reports is bad and that you can't report. No, I want to explain to you why do we care about data quality at all, and what might be confusing, highlight some things that seem to be confusing to you and explain them. So yeah, let's start with the why. I was hoping to motivate you a bit to improve your reporting. So yeah, one of the reasons apparently is efficiency. So as you have seen, the number of reports is growing, and we are just a team of 5, and we are processing the reports that have already been processed. So your reporter is writing a report. The girl or a guy is filling in the form, and then the form goes to you. Then your organization is processing it. Then you're sharing it with some other organizations, or they go directly to authorities, and then the authorities are working on the processing as well. And at the end, the data that we get is still not perfect. It's still difficult to work with. So this is such a waste of time of so many skilled professionals that are working on data entry and coding field. So we need to improve these reports from the very beginning to make it easier for all of the people in this chain. And another and the main reason is that we want to get some value out of the data. So the purpose of Occurrence Reporting Regulation and our team is not to just give you some rules and say that you're not compliant. No, we want to get some data to be able to analyze it and to improve safety of Europe and globally as well. So we need the safety intelligence to do that. So it's not our process, it's the European and global process. So we need all of you to be part of this process. We need your help to improve it, to get more data and more value out of this data. Because if you want to run analysis, you can see here that, for example, London Gatwick, if you want to do an analysis on London Gatwick, let's see how many bird strikes do they have or something like that, you want to run a query, and then you see that, well, it can be coded in so many different ways. And even though a report has gone through so many people and it was processed, at the end, some reports, they won't make it into the analysis because they were just coded differently and they didn't get into the analysis because it wasn't in the queries. So the person running the query didn't consider that it was just Gatwick, for example. So things like that. And yes, it's pretty clear that the better data quality helps to run better trends and issue analysis, and there we have better outputs, being risks assessment, airworthiness directives, safety information bulletins, safety promotion actions, conferences, EPAs, annual safety reviews, all of that. So all the data that we get, it's feeding all these outputs. So this is why we need to improve quality. So my WebEx is going crazy for some reason. Am I still showing? No. Okay. And yes, I want to highlight now the main things, but I want to do it on the reporting portal. so you can actually see where they are. So yeah, this is my organization. So yeah, this is the homepage that Gert was referring to. I want to report an occurrence, and I'm going to take the technical form. By the way, different organizations have different forms because we try to develop them in the way that would be easier for you to report. So, for example, if you're a production organization, you don't need ATM and all these fields. And I'm going to start with the reporting history because this is the first thing that we look at. Even though some reporters may think, okay, the most important thing is the issue, so we need to report the issue as soon as possible, and all the other fields they don't matter. But we are the authority, so there is a regulation. We need to confirm that you're fulfilling your reporting obligations as well. So we need to know who you are, and so. This is why reporting entity is very important to us. We need to know who is reporting to us. And then here, this text field is for your approval number. It doesn't say here, but this is where we are expecting to see the approval number. So, and there is a standard. So you put the approval number, space, / and then the organization name, full organization name. Yeah, so it can be also LTD, for example.
If you're a registered organization, then this will automatically be filled out for you because that is one of the pre-filled attributes when you're a registered organization. So you're not bothered with having to fill this out manually again.
Yes, so what else did I think to highlight here? Yeah, so reporting entity, this is clear. Report identification is another field that is very important to us. So this is the reference number used by you in your internal system. So multiple reports for the same occurrence usually have the same ID. It's not a headline, it's not your approval number, it is the number of your report. So if you have one occurrence in multiple reports, you will have most probably the same number. And some organizations, for example, do it like this. So they put year and then they consecrate this number. So for example, 025. Some organizations also want to add a version of a report, which is also acceptable. Make sure that the main part stays the same, but some do like this, like version 1, version 2. So version 2 is for follow-up, etc., etc. Then report status. So again, my colleagues have already touched on that, but quickly. So if you are expecting to, if you want to send us a follow-up, if you expect to do an investigation and send a follow-up, then your report should be open. So we receive the report, and then we know that we need to wait for another report later. Closed an issue is for the reports that are initials and no follow-ups are expected. So you send the report, it's closed, you're not going to do an investigation. You may know that, you may say that, okay, another organization will do the investigation. But yeah, this is closed an issue. So you send it, that's it. We won't be expecting any follow-ups from you. We know it's finished. And then, yes, closed. This is the last report that you sent after the investigation. So again, we know that we won't be expecting any follow-ups from you.
Okay, just here you see a lot of values. I mean, we, Ekaterina touched the values that we are expecting from you, because I mean, this is on the ECCAIRS2 portal, we are using the ECCAIRS taxonomy. So it's like this is also used by the Accident Investigation Board. So the other value you have seen, initial notification, preliminary data, factual, they are used for the Accident Investigation Board. So those values we not expect you to use, but they are there because we are using the ECCAIRS taxonomy. So we expect you to use, as Katerina was mentioning, open for the initial report if you don't have all the information at the moment. So you plan to send us a follow-up report. Then when you send us a follow-up report, if it's not concluded, it will still be open. If it's the first one and it's already closed, will be closed on issue, as already mentioned. And then with the last report, when it's closed, then you will choose the closed. So please don't use the other value that are there. Let's say data, factual, initial notification, etc.
Open, closed, and issue closed. This is this is your list that you're using. Okay, the other one is description, narrative, and the language. So a lot of people skip this one, but yeah, language is also important. In the regulations, it has to be there. So we look at it. If it's not there, we have to put it in manually. So please put language there. But yes, here it was pre-filled because I'm a registered organization, so it helps me. And yes, please register. It will help you as well because many fields will be automatically filled in for you, which is very helpful. Narrative. Yes, this is basically what happened. It's anonymized, clear summary. Don't forget that it's anonymized. So please don't provide any names or phone numbers or any contact details here. This is something that we see quite often, and we have to also remove it manually. And again, my colleagues have mentioned that already. Provide, if you are reporting some parts defects or engine defects, please provide the affected parts and engines, part number, serial number, and the system as well, ideally ATA chapter, because sometimes we get reports like a broken bolt was found. Which bolt? Where? Was it an engine? Was it a passenger seat? Why? Where? So yeah, it raises many questions and it doesn't provide any value. So we need to know where it is.
Yeah, this one, it's a mandatory data field, so need to be always provided. I know that you get very inventive, that you attach report from your system, a PDF, and there you have all the information. But then it's like you are discharging your work to us to go to the PDF, to your attachment that you have provided, and copy paste from your let's say from this source into this narrative text field. It need to be always provided, even with the initial report. So we always expect to have data into this field. But I mean, as mentioned, we do receive some time that it's blank, and information in the good cases is provided in the attachment. In some cases is even missing. So then it prompts us to contact you back and ask for this essential piece of information.
And please, if there is any relevant information, that also needs to be stored in the relevant attributes, not store everything in the narrative.
Yeah. Also, if there are any questions on the definitions for each attribute, there is a button there called Taxonomy Browser.
Yeah.
Up in the upper right corner. Oh, you explain it.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
And also, if you hover over the fields, you can see the short description. But yes, there is a taxonomy browser. The link will be in the presentation as well. You can find it in the reporting portal. But here, yes, okay, as you have mentioned that, I will show, for example, occurrence category. Yeah, so you can click on that, and then you can see all the values. And here you can see the description of these values, because this is another field that is always confusing. We see many reports with this value coded wrongly. So yeah, this is the guideline for you, so you can see the description here. But the link will be provided as well. Yes, also the narrative. Yes, I wanted to mention that if you code some values in the report, they have to be somehow mentioned, explained in the description and narrative analysis somewhere, because sometimes we can get a report that again says an engine failure, and then we see an event which is a bird strike, or the occurrence category is also a bird strike, but there is no description on that bird strike. So we're not sure was there a bird strike or not. So they have to be related to each other. If you mention that somewhere, yeah, please explain that what happened. And yes, also events. So it is mandatory to provide at least one event. You can see the event types here, also in the taxonomy browser. I found it quite useful. I'll show you event types. So you can click on event type here and then see the values again. And then you see all the events that we have. And again, you can see the description of each event, and yeah, they go by levels. So you can again go through the list and see all the events. But yeah,
And also there's a filter. It's a filter above where you can, if you know
yes.
one word, bird, for example,
Yeah,
or
for
whatever,
example, it's
you
bird.
will find
Exactly.
all event types that relate to the bird
Yeah.
structure.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. So yeah, it is very helpful. We use it quite often as well. And if it is really nice if you can also provide to try to code all the relevant events to complete the chain of events. So I will come back to my slides again later, but yeah, no, actually I will do it right now. But yeah, it's good to have a chain of events.
Yeah, the event types basically describe the chronological order of the event, what happened first, what happened second, and so on.
Basically, is translating the information that you put into the narrative into coded values.
Mm-hmm.
And there is in the taxonomy browser you can have a look on all the values. This is a quite extensive attribute, and there are over 3,000 values, so it's quite extensive, and it's quite difficult to know all the code. But as Yimbi said, you have this keyword search that will narrow down the event based on the keyword search. And as you have seen in the demo, there is equipment events. So if you are design and production organization, you are already aware about ATA chapter. So it will be not that difficult to you to identify at least one of the relevant events. But as mentioned, you should provide a sequence of all the events that occurred in the occurrence.
Yeah, so like here in the example, you can trailing each flap separation, and then during the investigation, you might find the root cause, and then you can provide it in the events. As here, you can see production personal qualifications. So there was something about the qualifications, and then there was incomplete installation in production. And then the result of this was the separation. So this also helps understanding the event, the occurrence, and then it helps the analysis. So yeah, during the analysis, we can say, okay, there are so many flap separations, but then we can see the root causes as well, that, okay, maybe the industry needs an improvement on training and qualifications or things like that. We have something to add? Okay. So yeah, there is the standardized way of providing your approval number. I've showed you that as well, but yes, you will receive the slides. You will see all of that here. And the next part is occurrence. Maybe it's good to share it on the portal again. So yeah, headline. This treated as an article title, as a title of your occurrence. So it has to be a short and anonymized summary of the occurrence in English. And we don't want to see an aircraft type, a company name, any names or location there. It's just a title that tells us quickly what happened in the occurrence. All the other data is provided in the description and in the attributes. UTC date. This is the date of the occurrence, not the report, but the occurrence. So if we receive a follow-up, the UTC date has to be the same as with the initial report, because this is when it happened, not when you send the report. Yeah, if it's a finding, a maintenance finding, or I don't know, this design finding, of course, there is no specific UTC date, then it's the date of the, when it was discovered. So this will be your UTC date, which will also stay the same in all the reports under this occurrence. Location, so this is pretty clear for everyone. New code states pretty well. Location name is sometimes not provided or sometimes coded in a non-standardized way, as I showed with the London Gatwick. So there is a standardized way of coding airports, for example. And also later we will share the link for the reporting guidelines. And there you can see the standardized way of coding different fields. So yeah, location is location of occurrence. So it can be a name of the airport or the closest settled area or geographical feature. It can also be airspace for ATM organizations. Sometimes it can be a larger area, which is usually the case for satellite providers. So you can use words like global or South Europe or something like this. Then occurrence class, the classification of the occurrence in relation to its outcome. I just want to highlight quickly that we've got major incident, significant incident, and occurrence without safety effect. They are Eurocontrol's values, and they are related to ATM ANS occurrences. So if you're a design, production, maintenance organization, just don't even look at them, don't use them, they're not for you. Observation is often used, observation of a potential safety issue hazard. So usually we use it for design, production, and production. So when you review your documents, you discover that, okay, something has gone wrong. So this is where you use observation. And occurrence with no flight intended is for the maintenance orgs mostly. So yeah, when you find a crack or something on the aircraft, this is when we use this occurrence. I hope it will be more clear now on that. Occurrence category I will touch a bit later. I wanted to show you for operational occurrences. We also have the ATM field. So we have ATM contribution and effect on ATM service. Just wanted to make it clear again. This is for usually it's not related to technical form, so this is for the operational organizations. So ATM contribution, this is related to ATM operational occurrences. So there has to be a flight. This is something to do with the control, with the tower. This is something to do with flight. So it's operational. And so, yes, and effect on ATM, this is for technical. So when an antenna is broken or there is something with the ATM equipment, this is when we use effect on ATM. In all the other cases, it's not applicable. And if there is no flight, it's not applicable as well. ATM contribution is not applicable. Okay, let's back to the technical form. Let's get back to it. Yes, also, it's weather relevant. Another field, quite often it's used as unknown. So basically, we use weather relevant when this field determines whether the weather influenced the outcome of the occurrence. And usually, if it's relevant, you need to provide the weather conditions, which is mostly for the operational occurrences. For example, there was a turbulence, then yes, the weather is relevant. If there is a crack on the aircraft, yes, you can say that the weather is somehow relevant because you have all the air and rain and other weather conditions influencing this aircraft, but it's not relevant for this type of occurrence. So yeah, for most of the technical occurrences, it's not relevant. And yes, I wanted to also touch quickly on the occurrence category. So we'll stop sharing.
Aircraft.
Aircraft. Yes, I will come back to that after the category. For the category, I want to open the presentation again. Why is it not here? Let me share the screen.
Anyway, all this information that Ekaterina is mentioning, there is a coding guidance provided by the Data Quality and Taxonomy Working Group that is available on the ECCAIRS website. So later Ekaterina will also show where is located, so you can, because I've seen some question if you had some material documentation. So this in this document there is the description on how to fill in this attribute.
Also, yes, we wanted to tell you to read the occurrence category carefully. You can do it in the taxonomy browser, as I showed you. You can see it in the regulations. So basically, please read the description again of all the categories, but I just wanted to highlight the most confusing ones that we often see miscoded. So ATM CNS, this is for, again, ATM-related occurrences. We often see it miscoded for navigation occurrences. For example, there was a level bust, which has nothing to do with ATC, which was due to turbulence, for example, but then it's coded as ATM, but that's not the case. It has to be the navigation category. Another one is cabin safety events. So this is often miscoded for medical occurrences. So if a passenger gets sick on board of the aircraft due to the passenger, so due to his own medical condition, not because of an aircraft equipment or something, then it has to be coded as medical occurrences. It's not cabin safety. Cabin safety is about baggage, supplemental oxygen, cabin emergency equipment, cabin injuries. But the weather or self-induced injuries are excluded. Then system component failure or malfunction, non-power plant and power plant. So this is the category that is to be used by maintenance organizations and design and production sometimes when you report some defects of parts. Yes, and this also includes defects that were caused by maintenance. So if there was a damage, the part wasn't maintained correctly, and then there was a malfunction of this part, it should be still coded there. So the cause is maintenance, but it falls into this occurrence category. And the last one, evacuation. This is related to evacuation events only. So there is an escape slide failure, for example, during tests or maintenance. It's not an evacuation event because no one is evacuating. It's just the equipment. And then the last one for me, the aircraft. And I will come back to the reporting portal again to show you where it is. So the aircraft, make it smaller. Yeah, this, as Nicole has mentioned, this is very important for us to know the type of the aircraft. And so, yeah, the aircraft registration is very important for us because then we can get more data based on the registration, and the type and model, make of the aircraft. They are essential. And there is a strict, so let's say, yeah, usually if when the aircraft is registered, the member states, they are updating the database. And if the registered aircraft is in the database, then the trick should work. So you enter your registration, then you click on this, triggering attributes, and the magic happens. So you select the aircraft, which is in the database in this case. And then most of the fields, they're automatically pre-filled for you. And then you don't need to do it manually yourself, which is very helpful. And yes, for technical occurrences, again, last departure point, planned destination, and flight phase, they are not applicable. So they're not unknown, or sometimes we see that as a defect is found during maintenance somewhere, and then they provide this airport where the maintenance is performed as the last departure and planned destination. This is wrong. It's not applicable because there is no flight. So this is flight information. These are mandatory fields, so you have to fill them in. But yeah, just put not applicable.
Yeah. If you go to administration, that is new. If you go to administration, yep, you go to organization management, so you will be able to do that. And if you go to autofill attributes, to the third tab,
Oh yeah.
yep, then you will see on the right-hand side, all the pre-filled attributes that we have on file for you. So these are all the attributes that will automatically be filled out for you when you are a registered organization using the online performance. In addition, you can modify them if they're not applicable or if they're not appropriate for you, or you can add your own if necessary. So if you're always filling out the same aircraft type, then you can add the make model and redefine it.
How do you add? No, wait.
Yeah, you select an attribute on the left-hand side and
I
add.
see.
Yeah,
And then
So let's say events. Now let's see airspace.
select an attribute.
Airspace class.
Yeah,
Then
you select
add.
add.
Already added. Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's already added.
Yeah.
But then again, so
Okay.
this is how you add it, and then you can modify it like you want without having to mention this to EASA. This is something that you can manage yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
I added reporting validity, and here I can. Okay. So good.
show also where is the document.
Ability, yes.
Yeah.
So let's come back to the form, reporting occurrence, technical. So yeah, please provide the aircraft data. And of course, if you're reporting engine or part or propeller failures, please provide them. So yes, if it's an engine, we need the engine model because sometimes we do receive only the serial number, but we don't know which engine it is. And this doesn't make any sense because we don't know, yes, it has to be provided. And of course, the more data you provide, the better for the analysis. So if you have information in cycles and hours, please provide it. And yes, don't forget to, especially with the parts, don't forget to mention the system of the part, because if it is just a bolt, we can't do much about it because we don't know which bolt in which system is affected. And yes, and again, as Nicola has mentioned, part and engine information, they're mandatory. So yeah, you can provide this information in the description, but it is much nicer and it saves everyone some time when you code it directly in the part and engine information. And the last one, so yes, let's go to the reporting portal. I will show you here. So where can you get some guide on all of these fields? So first of all, you can see it here. So we have coding guidelines here. So in the occurrence, in the description of the occurrence, you can see the link. We click on that. And here is the document. And with all the values, and you can click on them and see some description and the ways, the standards of the field. Also, you can find it on the reporting portal itself. So you go here, why safety reporting. Then you can either click here on the material, or you can scroll down, and then you can find it here, coding guidance. And yes, also I've mentioned that there is a taxonomy browser, which will also be provided, where you can see all the attributes. So this is the help for you to understand what is what, where it goes, and how to code it. I hope it will be helpful. We are always happy to see some feedback. Yes, during the further webinars, we will explain into more detail some additional fields that are related to your organizations, so you will get more information. And this is why we ask you to use Slido as well, and this is why we are doing the questionnaire, to see what exactly is confusing for you. We want to explain that and help you. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Ekaterina. Very good presentation. You really touched on the good points on the data quality issues. I would like to highlight that so the information that we explained here in this webinar is coming out of our review of the occurrence report receive from the EASA reporting approved organization. It might be that in other areas the reporting landscape can be different, and we are not going to touch on that. We are just going to inform about what is the occurrence reporting. Let's say occurrence reporting overview that's coming from EASA-approved organization. I will explain now, because I saw in the slide that there are a few comments on the Common European Risk Classification Scheme and how some certain maintenance organization can better use the ERCS to perform their risk management activities. The regulatory framework is set in Regulation 376 and also complemented with the implementing regulation 2082 from 2021, explaining the methodology for the European risk classification scheme, and also the Commission delegated regulation 2034 from 2020, which is implementing the regulation 376. So what's the purpose of the ERCS? So we have a standardized approach to risk classify individual occurrences to determine the risk level, and it is mandatory for EASA as a competent authority for the EASA-approved organization and European national aviation authorities. So it's not mandatory for aviation organization. However, if you think ERCS is a tool that you can implement in your risk management system, you are free to use it. More than that, you are welcome and encouraged to use it, as it helps to standardize risk classification across European and also EASA regulatory reporting framework. So what is the ERCS? So what's the purpose of the ERCS? So as I explained, address the safety risk of an occurrence and not its actual outcome. It determines the worst likely accident outcome, which is the key risk area. So we have aircraft stop set at the key risk area. We have excursion, airborne collision, obstacle collision, runway collision, security, fire, smoke, and pressurization. So this is the main key risk areas that are coming in the ERCS methodology. And what the ERCS methodology does, it helps identifying how close were you to that accident outcome, and to do that, it provides a barrier model for that specific accident scenario, and helps identify how effective were those barriers in preventing the accident outcome. So, for example, you may have during landing, landing gear failure, which in this context, in this scenario, accident scenario, the key risk area will be run a excursion. However, nothing happened. The aircraft performed the landing properly in a safe condition. This means that the barriers were effective. And so, for example, it might be that the aircraft equipment infrastructure barrier is effective. So this is an example to highlight. I don't think we have enough time now to go through specific of the ERCS. I'm just going to provide a high-level information about how to use ERCS. Furthermore, so how exactly is that achieved? How is that safety risk score achieved in the occurrence? So we look at, as I explained, what is the most likely type of the accident. We are looking at the potential loss of life, so meaning what is the size of the aircraft. It might be that a different risk level in a large aircraft comparing to light aircraft. So the level of risk differ, and also this means that the final risk score should be different. It looks at the barrier model, as I explained, to achieve that effectiveness, and based on that, we compute severity score and also a likelihood number, which is dependent on the numbers of barriers that remains in place and stop the accident stop the occurrence from escalating into an accident. And this gives us the final safety risk score. If you are interested in understanding more about our methodology, you can have a look at on our website. We have the EASA learning module, which is a very interesting interactive online course that explains the EASA scoring, and also it's coming with supporting materials. So as I said, all the information that was shared in this webinar is first recorded, and the presentation will be made available to you. So I invite you to read all the materials that we have shared and included in the slide, the coding guidance, the ERCS materials, and also looking forward to receive from you the completed occurrence reporting survey that will help us to build the future webinars and address your occurrence reporting challenges in a better way at the domain level. I don't know if we have time to take comments as we are.
There were a few questions on the sharing on the onboarding documentation, on the document that was sent. I will try to share my screen so that I can give you a quick overview of I'm going to share my screen. Okay, everybody can see my screen. So first of all, you get a Dear Organization Manager. And then, of course, this is the most important one. This is your login name. It will be EASA.145, EASA.21J, 21 Golf, AOT, whatever, depending on the type of organization. You will be explained how to log into the system. It will be explained how to add extra users, because potentially you have more than one reporter in your organization if you're a large organization. Which are the mandatory fields that you need to fill out, which are the roles that you can give to your reporters. For instance, you are an administrator, but you do not want another user to start changing, creating new users. You can limit that by only giving them the role of reporter. We explain the different means of reporting, either it's online, it's the offline, it's manual, or the API method. Report coding, where still we point out to where the reporting guidelines are. And then very important, at one of the last pages is which are the attributes that we have on file for you. And these will be automatically filled out when you are creating a report online. So not applicable, not applicable, not applicable, indeterminate, and so forth. And very importantly, that's the first thing that Ekaterina mentioned. This is the reporting entity additional information in the format that we would like to have it. This is something that will be automatically filled out for you. So EASA.145. Your number, blank, / blank, your organization name. As already mentioned in the demonstration, you can modify these elements yourself. So if you are always flying or using a 737-200, then you can have that as a predefined value so that you do not always have to select that. And so forth. Okay, stop sharing.
So, thank you all for joining the webinar. Hope that you found the information helpful and useful for improving your occurrence reporting activity and safety risk managing better your risk. at the organizational level, and hope that you can support us in developing the domain-specific webinars.
And thank you for all the questions. I know that it's not nice that you didn't receive a reply from us. There were tons of questions. We will make sure to cover these in the next webinar, as Janut mentioned. But I mean, it's important to know that occurrence reporting is a part of the gear to enable the other process. So it's like you are not reporting just to fulfill your requirement, but is very important to get the system moving. So yeah, so it is important to report and to follow up on every issue that and I've seen many questions of what need to be reported. Was also mentioned. There is this regulation, implemented regulation 2015-10-18. There you have example of what need to be reported. So we will not go now, time is finished, we will not go on example on what need to be reported, but I mean, that's the document that you can access and read on what is expected from you to be reported. Thank you.
Thank you. If there isn't anything else from any of you.
No, thanks for excellent participation, all the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.